Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back. So we got a request lately from a friend of ours and asked for a haul video. Of course, we went to Jacksonville recently, and we've visited a couple of record stores here in Atlanta since then, and we're going to show you some of the stuff that we got on that trip. All right. So I have some records here. Greg has a few books, and we're both going to talk about them. Okay, so I have a really odd record to start out with here. Everything you always wanted to know about home computers. And the odd thing about it is, look at who's on the cover here. That's Steve Allen and Jane Meadows. Now this album was made in 1983 on Casablanca Records. And it even comes with a, let me get it out of the back here, a simulator. There's a booklet on the back is a simulator practice computer keyboard.
Mm-hmm. Steve looks a little perturbed in that picture there.
Yeah, this picture right here. Look at that. It's like, what am I doing here? Why did I sign up for this? And who are these people with me? Probably his children. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, but they narrate it, and I'm quite interested to listen to this eventually. You know, the cat is smelling my leg. I feel you down there. The questions they ask on is how easy is it to use? What kinds of things can I do with a home computer? How does a computer work? Which I look for in my computer. All valid questions, you know.
We have this book here, Beating the Odds.
Mm-hmm. Written by the longtime president of ABC, Leonard Goldenson. He was when United Paramount Theaters bought ABC in 1953, which is where ABC considers the beginning of their history today, even though they existed all the way back to 1948. It's like they ignore a whole 5-year swath of their history. Mm-hmm. And lots of programs that are lost to time and probably never will be seen again. But anyway, I'm quite interested to read this book. And I've already looked. For those of you who join me on the Twitch stream on Monday night, there's no mention of what's going on in this book, even though that program came in 1954 on ABC. So we'll see what he has to say about a lot of things in that. All right, so here, speaking of ABC, there's another odd thing in here called Playback 81. And this is a radio program that's produced for the ABC radio network by the SFM Holiday Network. And on the back here it says, this program is cleared solely for the one-time broadcast use of pre-cleared affiliates of the ABC radio network on the designated date and time scheduled by the network. It's actually not supposed to be, it's not supposed to exist, but yet here it is. Somebody saved it.
Yeah, the hit songs of 1981 and audio of news events and things like that.
Yeah, and the SFM Holiday Network plugs their 1982 holiday schedule on it, or
their movie package.
Well, their whole schedule, the movie package for the year. It comes on several LPs inside here, and just to prove how authentic Stranger Things is, this is the same font in this little booklet here. You may recognize that font from their title. That's interesting.
A little oddity from the history of radio.
And that's mainly what I'm looking for in records these days, is a lot of oddities.
Well, speaking of radio, this is NPR, the history of National Public Radio.
Mm-hmm. As much as we preach of the importance of PBS, NPR is just as important.
It comes with a audio CD of 6 classic NPR broadcasts.
Yep, and I made sure the CD was in there. And like, all you have to do is feel it. You don't. It doesn't look like it's ever been opened.
No, it's still sealed.
Yeah, it's still sealed. So no one's ever played this CD.
May Day demonstrations against Vietnam, Watergate, David Sedaris, Elf at 34th Street, Macy's reads from diary, Fort Carson soldiers in 2006.
NPR is important to journalism. You will never be able to dissuade me on that, you know. And you being a journalist, you know more so the importance of journalism. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in case you didn't know, Greg is a journalist. Going back to people associated with ABC again, I have this little oddity. This is an episode of the Dick Clark National Music Survey. which is I consider to be a clone and or a ripoff of Casey Kasem's America's Top 40 that he did for a long time. You know, and this is again is something that was sent to affiliates of the show, so not a lot of copies of these things are floating out there.
So it's essentially Dick Clark counting down the top songs of the week.
Yeah, in this case, the top 30 of the week. You know, I mean, he couldn't totally rip off Casey Kasem. You know, so of course in here there's information about this is from the weekend of September 25th, 1982. So there's all sorts of things in here about the information stuff for stations, and of course a rundown of all 3 hours of the show, what's in it. There are 3 LPs in here.
What was the top song that week?
Oh, the top song that week? Abracadabra by the Steve Miller Band. And number 2 is Jack and Diane by John Cougar Mellencamp, even though he wasn't going with using Mellencamp at the time. Number 3 was, oh, great Chicago song. I'm a big Chicago fan. Hard to Say I'm Sorry. It's a very big hit for them. Number 4, Melissa Manchester, You Should Hear How She Talks About You. Number 5 was Survivor, Eye of the Tiger, which 1982 was the big year for that song, and Rocky 3, of which it was written for. And then there are 3 LPs in here. I mean, not a lot of these floating around, as I said. So I'll be interested to hear this. You know,
they were supposed to be returned. You know.
Yeah, but obviously someone decided to hold on to it. You know, and of course the date up here is stamped. You know, this is just a generic cover they used every week. So now Greg loves certain comic books.
Yeah, I collect Donald Duck, Walt Disney comic books. So I have added another hardback. Carl Barks collection. Carl Barks, the Duck Master, they call him. Uncle Scrooge, The 7 Cities of Gold. I only have a couple of these hardbacks. I mean, I have lots and lots of regular comic books, but I don't have very many of these hardbacks. I should maybe get some more of those.
Mm-hmm. And you showed me something interesting in that book.
Yeah, some of the great adventure stories in here, because Barks was the master of those.
There was one particular one in here he showed me that really inspired a famous moment in movies at all.
The Beagle Boys stealing a statue from a cave, and it sends a big boulder rolling after them. So, that was the direct inspiration for that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I did not know that. That was very interesting when you told me about it before. All right, so I have one more album to show, and this is kind of something different from the theme of the other albums that I've been showing you. And this may look like just a typical disco album. It's from MFSB, which stands for Mother, Father, Sister, Brother. And it's symbolic of what the Philadelphia sound was, which became what disco would be known for. And to tell you the truth, that I wasn't looking for this album. I just saw it there and I'm like, oh, I've got to get this album. Because one of the tracks on here, KG, was on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack as well, which is where I've heard that group before. But, I don't want to feel like this album is filler, because I was buying an album from a store on Discogs, and I didn't meet an order minimum threshold, so I went looking through the users collection and trying to find something that I might like to have, and this popped up, and I thought, well, I'd like to have an actual album by this group. I'd heard them before in that soundtrack, and I loved it. I'm quite a fan of disco music. I think it's very hated on unfairly at times, particularly around 1979. When all the disco demolition was going on, which I can understand the anger of rock fans, but you guys have got to get over yourselves. You got to have coexistence in the world of music, All right, so that is some of the stuff we got. Let us know if you like this video. We may do more of them in the future, as we get more stuff. Of course, I pretty much have a lot of the major vinyl that I want. I'm only buying specific new things and oddities as they come along, Same goes for books, because we have 2 pretty full big bookshelves back there of stuff. We don't have room for much else. And like over 75% of that is coffee table soap opera books. I'm lying. But we have just about every soap opera coffee table book you can imagine.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's much else.
No.
All right, so we thank you for joining us for this video today, and we hope you liked it. Please do give us a like, thumbs up button. Please do subscribe and smash that bell, and you'll get notified when new videos come out.
Yep.
And we have lots of new stuff coming up in the future, all right? All right, we love them, don't we?
Yep.
We love you guys. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time, okay? Bye.